We spent 100 days playing Ark Descended with new powerful creature variants now roaming the center. They wreak havoc and destroy everything in their path. And my job is to take down the excellent Dodo boss, the ancient bosses for Techgrams, the Galaxy Warchief, and the God of Dream. I have teamed up with the Kisa to help me beat this mod in 100 days. On day 1, I spawned into this beautiful world with the Kisa apparently running away from something. And like any other video, getting the necessary starter tools were important. Then I was rudely interrupted by Pegomastax when learning some engrams, so I ran further away to get some stuff started. Ow! Then I found myself running through the woods and getting some stuff made, but then I heard a Rex in the background, but I chose to ignore it. Then the Rex had stopped fighting that thing behind me, so I wondered what happened to it, so I turned around and I got jumped. Whoa, what? I then respawned and some sort of calm music was playing in the background. It was very mesmerizing. Okay, let's cut that though. Let's not have YouTube cutting this video short due to some tunes. But when I was casually ripping out some bushes from the ground, I spotted some sort of a holographic dino. What the? So to give an update, me and the Kisa were both stuck on the island, but I lost the Kisa when I died to Raptor before. Then I ran into Ghost Dillo that I could only hear. I couldn't see him at all. But despite that one, I found a descended Dodo I wanted, but there was an aggressive Raptor in the premise, but the Trikes handled it. So then I tamed up a Lystra baby while I heard the faint sound of a Carno nearby. No, not my Dodo! Oh, you're done for. You're so done for. Okay, great. Also, I need it. I then tried killing the Lystra I obtained to level up a bit, but a Raptor randomly appeared out of nowhere and started attacking the Trike, so he killed my Lystra. But it's honestly fine. I had to give myself a fitting tribe name though, and then my Dodo as well. So Bertie, the Dodo I was riding on, can apparently produce Descended Essence and Silica Pearls. The Essence is widely used for Descended things. A Bertie is freaking glorious though. It's like a speed demon. Whee! Then a bit later, the starter base was being built on the beach for now due to how dangerous it can get on this map. Towards the end of the night, I made this workbench and I placed down a bed as well. The most important thing of all. Then Akisa came over to meet me. Whoa! And she brought her whole flock with her. Jesus! The next day, I invited Akisa to the tribe so we could team up. We like doing these videos together and it mostly makes them more fun to do as well. So, I looked through the engrams and I noticed something about it. Yeah, but we need to actually get saddled before we can make the cable. Because I'm looking at it right now and yeah, citronel, descended essence, excellent essence, excellent soul. I don't know what that is. I guess that's a kill. We can make the excellent boss kibble too, but then we need to kill the boss and we need to find giant bee honey. Generic art. You need an artifact for this? But yeah, I was gonna start looking for some metal while Akisa got wrecked by a dino. I can definitely say that this mod had a lot of interesting creatures all over the place. I ran through the dark forest trying to find my way up to the ledge to check out if there was any metal up there. But then I heard an ability from Primal Fear that reminded me of danger. What is that? There's a big fire here in the forest. Is that a Giga? It's an Indominus or something. I managed to find some metal up on the ledge along with some crystal. That's exactly what we need right now to get to places. I'm honestly happy I wasn't playing around with the light bloom because it lights up everything way too much. I don't think I want to play with light bloom. It makes everything look cool, but bro, I'm blind. Akisa was underneath me, but when I tried looking down on her, I kinda fell. Wait, the Dodo barely takes fall damage?
No, the Dodo doesn't take like any fall damage.
And while I was casually just walking on the beach, I saw some sort of a thing moving around. Is that a shark? It's an holographic shark here, Akisa. How do you not see it? The Dodo is an excellent swimmer too. I just love this thing. This duck is so nice. Anyways, I wanted to hit level 20 to make a forge, but I was missing out on one level. So I tried killing this Dodo here, but Akisa ruined it by sending in her flock on it. I noticed there was also a few potions from the mod. They'll definitely come handy later on. I finally got the forge crafted and placed out. I'm gonna need some better tools since the ones we have right now are kinda poo-poo. Alright, after waiting a while for the metal to melt, I got the smithy crafted so I could craft myself a better pick. I was also gonna need some more metal, basically for the descendant pick, since those have 5 times harvesting. And when I was gonna go up on the ledge to harvest some metal, I asked if Akisa could tame the parasaur while I went up to farm some metal. There was luckily still some crystal here, so I was thankful for it. But then something scared me with the sound of a rocket launcher. Whoa, what was that?
Uh-oh, raptor's eating your parasaur.
No! It seriously died? Oh, God. Back at the base, I made an awesome spyglass so we can get some idea of what dinos we are facing as well. I also crafted the Ark Descended smithy. You could tell that this developer loves dodos. Alright, nice. Now I got the tools crafted, so I could go harvest up some more metal and crystal again, but in a larger quantity. The Descendant tools were super good. I was getting so much metal and crystal from just a few swings. Well, with the crystal I obtained, I could make some dino balls, which works like cryos, and a dino digitizer to pick up the dinos. It felt a bit wacky, but it will just have to work for now. Then a set of crossbows had to be made as well for me and Akisa, so we could go grapple places and tame some unusual dinos. On day 3, I had a very interesting boat I could craft up and then place out. Oh my god. Actually pretty cool. I could say that this boat is way better than the usual raft. Anyways, we wanted to get some dodo eggs produced in the terminal and we had the Dino Depots one to use. But we quickly realized it needed power to function. Bruh. But at least we can store things in it for now if we need to. I crafted up the egg crate instead so it will basically pick up eggs from the ground. We were planning on collecting some cementing paste and checking out another area real quick to see how calm it is over there. The ocean was filled with lots of interesting fish, quite deadly and scary. We stopped by the ruins since it's the closest spot to the beaver dams. Akisa basically zoomed away while I was fiddling around with my dino balls? I mean soul balls. Anyways, I made it up to the area and it was filled with a lot of beavers, but I chose to ignore it and kinda bent for it. Akisa vanished as soon as she saw an Allosaurus. There's an Allosaurus here! But I got some paste before leaving though. I didn't want to be on the menu today. Then back at the boat, I was dismounting from a dodo, which was a big mistake. I was quite worried something would sneak up on me in this heavy body of water. And here's one interesting thing. The beaver followed me all the way back to the boat. That dude is so committed to kill me. Finally back at base, I got a preserving being made. We had a lot of food and berries that we couldn't have spoiling right now. It was very important to us. Since I didn't have the parasaur tamed up because she died, I had to use Akisa's Mo shops to farm some narco berries instead. It was decent, but I think the parasaur is still better. But while I was doing that, I aggroed a huge family of pegomastics towards us. Not quite what I expected. Look what he brought with him.
Oh god.
I made some of these new advanced trank arrows from the mod. They were supposedly better than the vanilla ones, but a little bit more expensive. So with my new trank arrows, I wanted to see if I could get myself a pterodon or something. Not a vanilla one, but an Ark Descended. On the other side of the beach, I ran into an ordinary pterodon I could tame. The excellent variant would have been nicer to have, but we needed kibble for that, which we didn't have yet. So I expected to knock this pterodon out, but according to the Spyglass, it was a passive tame, so I swam back to base to grab some prime meat. So instead of wasting my beautiful, expensive arrows, I was gonna passively feed it instead. Akisa wanted some help gathering up some prime fish meat, but we didn't have anything for the ocean yet. But towards the end of the day, I spotted a dolphin I could passively tame up for sea exploration, but the dolphin was so squirmy and actually attacked back. Ow, what? It attacks me? Even though it says it's passive? On day 4, I was still trying to tame both the pterodon and the dolphin. The pterodon never landed, so I just stuck with the dolphin instead. But eventually, that dolphin played around with me too much, so I died. After my respawn, I saw that the pterodon had landed, so I swam to it blazing fast. But now the Indominus had run down to the beach instead. When I was trying to read the Spyglass information, the Indominus threw off one of his attacks. I didn't really pay attention to that. You need to kill corresponding abyssal garden if you want to evolve one. Whoa! No! Akisa also let me know that my only dodo died from that attack too.
Your dodo's dead.
What? My dodo died! I couldn't really see my body around, so I used the mod we had so it would highlight where it was. Because this dumbass removed his death marker on pure instinct. Anyways, the pterodon was way better than I expected. It had a lot of weight and he was fast as heck. Oh god, you see speed? Then I quickly had to get dressed because Ikisa was about to call the cops on me for running around naked. I noticed that my dolphin was losing tame progression, so I swam out to it to try feeding it, but it was complicated. The dolphin was so close killing me again, but then I tamed it. That was close and could have been embarrassing dying to it the second time. Oh my lord. Akisa was trying to tame a Pelagornis, but she made the mistake of boloing it, so she lost all of the taming progression and he flew away. But despite Akisa's Pelagornis, I was gonna try out my dolphin and he was so good. Oh my god! Then I also gave it a fitting name for its unique skill. Then me and my jet ski dipped down into the seabed, but I got a bit scared when I saw some eels, so we went back up again. But a bit later, I decided to take my pterodon out to the snow zone to gather some polymer from penguins. We're eventually gonna need that for multiple structures, so getting it ahead of time would be good. On my way to the snow zone, I quickly stopped by the Batman Island to collect some crystal and obsidian since it was right next to me. And while I was farming that, Akisa marked on the map for me where the penguins are, so I was in for a very long trip. On my flight over there, I didn't really pay attention and I flew too close to a dragon. Oh, what did you do? No, a big chase by dragon! Please! My pterodon isn't that fast. Can you please leave me? There was a lot of interesting creatures flying around here too that made me very curious. There were dragons almost everywhere and I had to keep my distance very far up if I wanted to stay alive. But nonetheless, I made it to the penguins. I got some of the penguins killed and I got a crap ton of polymer. There were these two baby penguins abandoned here too, so I adopted both of them. It's not like I killed their parents or anything, I think. On day 5, I made it back to the base and I gave Akisa the responsibility to take care of the penguins. I wanted to get myself a fabricator, but as soon as I saw the oil, it reminded me that I was in the freaking snow zone. We don't have oil, do we? Why didn't I harvest up the oil while I was there? But we had a very little amount of oil at the base, but I used what we had to make the fabricator and some gasoline so we could start crafting up some electronics, because we were billionaires when it came to silica pearls. While it was being crafted, I took another trip over to the snow zone to grab some oil now. There was plenty of oil and crystal too, just perfect for me. The game knew exactly what I wanted. Now, I was able to make the SES gun for picking up dinos now, but I also made a different kind of a forge that was a bit more expensive than the vanilla one, but Akisa told me it's somewhat faster. Akisa was having a blast building on the boat and we were soon ready to head out away from this bob zone. But meanwhile Akisa built the boat, the rustic forge had melted so much already and we're gonna need more metal to cook up, so I flew up onto the ledge to get some more. But then a Dimorphodon started attacking me. So I knocked it out with one arrow, but I didn't have any raw meat for it, so I gave it my meat. The Dimorphodon tamed up, and I named it Little Wing. And for the end of the night, I was setting up the Soul Terminal for some automatic production of eggs and other types of bits and pieces. And that's pretty much it for day 5. The next day, I flew up on the ledge again to harvest up some more metal. We were low on metal, so I figured it would be perfect to collect some now. In the meantime, Akisa was building the boat. The plan right now was preparing the boat with all of the necessary things we would need and then boat out towards our new base location. We really needed to get the base going because we had to set up a self-sustaining greenhouse for crops since the first tier of kibble requires it. Then I made a power generator so we could power up the Dino Depot terminal. I was curious to see if any of the Ark Descended things would produce within it. And then I made a fridge too so our things would last for a little bit longer as well. I wasn't really doing anything major right now and this was all temporary until the boat was finished. So with the Ark Descended tools we get 5 times harvesting bonus, but I made the chainsaw to see how good it was for comparison. 150, okay. It gives 150 with normal chainsaw. I'm sorry chainsaw, but you're not as good as the tools. I was even trying out the new boat we had and the mobility of it was super good. You can turn it with just your mouse and even go backwards. Man, I love mods. Anyways, then I took a trip a bit further out to gather up some much needed crystal. I went to check on both Dino terminals and they did not produce any Ark Descended resources. So that kinda sucks. That means the dinos will have to be out 24/7 and rendered. Well, there's nothing I can do about that, but I can at least farm some narco berries with the Akisa's Mo shops. Akisa was finalizing the last parts on the boat, so then we could start by moving some things over there now. So I dedicated the rest of the day just sorting and moving things over to the boat because we're not staying on this bar beach. Akisa had put down 4 torches on the boat because she thought it was a little bit dark, but I would let you guys decide if this was dark or not. There is one thing for sure. I felt like I got touched by the very holy light of the Valkyries. Well, cool. We still had those frontier lamps from the Bob Tall Tales, so I made those instead to replace the torches, and they were so much better. But then, we were finally on our way. Akisa had already decided on a location, so we were heading in her direction. Honestly guys, it kinda felt funny to see a moving house in the water. A bit further up here, I saw something in the water that had my interest immediately. What is that? Oh! 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 Stop here! It was the Shastasaurus. No wait, it was actually 2 of them? We haven't played the center yet, so this was our first time seeing them in the game. I was gonna go grab my fish from the storage box, but he wasn't in the terminal for some reason. So I'm guessing I forgot him back on the beach. To tame these whales, I would need my dolphin.
Oh! Dude! Dude! What?
That's cool.
Are they violent?
No, they're friendly, but you cannot tame them unless you have a dolphin. You need the dolphin in order to communicate with the fish. Apparently, my jet ski was 1,000 meters away from me, but when I got close to him, I noticed he was pretty far out in the water and pretty deep down too. I have no clue what he was doing down there though. And when I got close to the Shastasaurus, it had already begun the taming process, so a minigame would start. Kill the leeches! We need a sickle! I don't have a sickle. I had to quickly make some metal sickles, but we didn't have access to scuba gear yet, so we're just gonna have to try it out for now. Oh. He wants to be friends. Wait, can you come over here, Shastasaurus? Oh, I can lead it to the boat, I think. Wait, is it following me? Oh, it is! As the Factinus was attacking the Shastasaurus, so he threw off a few cool attacks that I was watching. But while I was watching, the Shastasaurus had the Mosasaurus sneaking up behind me, which led us to leave. We're leaving! We're not staying here, Akisa. It was quite a journey to get here, but we're finally here. Akisa had thought about building on top of the water, really close to the edge of the world. The ocean here is as weird as it ever has been, but at least we're close to a huge abundance of wood since the redwoods are next to us. On day 8, I had a very loud holographic megalodon next to the boat that scared me. But despite the shark, I wouldn't let that test my fear, so I kept to myself and worked on getting some foundations down because I wanted to get an awesome teleporter crafted and placed out. I would need to work on getting some trank arrows made so I could go out and tame some dinos for us that we need severely right now. The most important ones would be the harvesting dinos, Anki and Edoed, and some dying beetles for the greenhouse. Also, Akisa freaked out when the holographic shark was very close to our boat, but I don't think it really mattered since he could also float in the air. I went underwater close to him, but it didn't seem like he was aggressive at all, but I don't really want to get closer than this. Maybe his aggro range was low, I don't know. We are not testing it right now. I found one of these diarrhea pigs that were perfect for a greenhouse, but I kinda thought to myself when feeding this pig, isn't this gonna take forever to tame most of the creatures passively when there usually are a knockout tame? That was a really good question. Well, since it was just a pig, it didn't really matter, so I tested this by knocking it out and taming it that way, even though the Spyglass was telling me it was a passive tame. Oh, it does work! So apparently the shark kind of freaked out Akisa a little bit, so she went down the waterfall and had decided to build down there instead. This will probably work out pretty well too, especially if you can get some water creatures. Okay. Well, apparently Akisa got some polymer by killing a shark with her Pelagornis. That's kinda odd. I went back to our old base spot because I saw some dung beetles last time we were here, and I wanted some for the greenhouse right now. At the end of the day, I came across a dung beetle that looked very much like a turtle because of its sheer size. The next day, I was gonna try taming it. I got attacked by a few things, but there was a lot of threat nearby. Whoa! I had a very annoying griffin circling me for some reason as well. Wait, oh the griffin is on me. I even got knocked off my dino at one point by a microraptor. I hate those things, especially when I'm in a dark forest. There was even a smaller dung beetle hiding in the bush that I started feeding as well. Alright, now finally I got both of the dung beetles tamed up, so now we can probably get a move on with the greenhouse. Akiza really like the beetles.
Oh, that one looks very excellent. I'm on a beetle riding a beetle while I hold a beetle.
Come on, Akiza. So when I moved the things over to the boat, I placed Akiza's soul terminal next to her bed, but now it's actually gone. It was apparently just invisible without any explanation how. Shit was just buggy right now. I was honestly surprised that darts were not a thing in this mod. It seemed like there was only these arrows and some trank sniper bullets. On day 10, a big storm rolled in on the center, but I was gonna go out and look for some resource dinos to tame despite the storm. The storm cleared really fast actually. Towards the land, I saw a phoenix that did some kind of an explosion that left some purple flames on the spot. And then a bit further inland, I saw a lot of Rexes all over the place, but there was a divine Ceratosaurus that did a purple breath attack too. I want that! I think the mod developer did an amazing job on the mod so far, and we had only played a few hours of this already, but we were absolutely freaking loving it. Anyways, I made it to the volcano and I noticed how much it has changed compared from ASC. Like, this island had very interesting dinos, especially this parasaur that had a fire breath. Wait, that parasaur is doing a fire breath! What is this mod, dude? I went by the snow zone and came across something very scary. Oh my god, what's this? Dude, that Dodo Rex is amazing! And since I was out here, I grabbed some oil too, because why not? We're gonna need it. I got a hold of some devilish soul. I have no clue how I got it, but I know it's for taming the devilish dinos. But down here in the snow zone, I actually spotted an annunaki I needed, but there was just a small problem with it. I quickly went back to base to drop off some crystal I harvested because I was so fat with loot right now, but I also wanted to grab some major berries for the annunaki. When I teleported back, I couldn't see the ankylo anywhere and I fell off the cliff trying to spot it. Dude, I'm so scared. There's a Dodo Rex there. Okay, I'm dead. Wait, they're not aggressive towards me? Oh, phew. I'm guessing the ankylo died because I couldn't see it anywhere. Then a bit later, I went out to the redwoods to quickly collect some stone. We were completely out of it. Jeez, it would have been better if I had that anchor right now. On day 11, Akiza's soul terminal was somehow back. So we instantly got rid of it and replaced it with the super cryo storage. Then I went quickly by the redwoods to get some wood and I had an abyssal manticore flying over my head. It made me very nervous. Well, today I was gonna go out and look for an annunaki. We needed one desperately right now. We were constantly running out of metal for too many reasons. I went back to the snow zone where I last saw one, but I scanned all around the place and I couldn't see anything. I see one. Then after like 10 minutes of flying all over the place, I saw an annunaki finally. It was a minor ankylo? Its torpor was kinda high too, and it didn't go up that much from my arrows. So I went back home to make some billboards to trap it in. Akiza was kind enough to come and help me knock it out too, because she had way higher melee than me, so giving her the torpor spear was a good idea. And Kyle was finally out cold, so I could give it some berries and leave it to tame up. I wasn't sticking around to wait for it to wakey. Akiza had also finished building the greenhouse now, so all we need was some fertilizer. But it didn't seem like the dung beetles were freaking working out properly in the soul terminal, so I took them out instead to see if that would work better. Apparently, the pig was capable of producing Byron milk, which was odd. Oh, I didn't know that. Apparently the Viomia produces Byron milk in its inventory.
Interesting.
So on day 12, I noticed that the excellent dung beetle was really fast in making the fertilizer because it had already a few of them. It kinda sucks that the terminal will be out of commission then. I would probably have to go out and find some normal dung beetles if it's possible. Back at the boat, I crafted the industrial grill because we will need a lot of cooked meat for making the first tier of kibble. So I wanted to get started on that. Then I zoomed back to our starter island to collect some more metal. The area was pretty calm here, so I didn't really mind the trip to come over here. I flew back to the beaver dams, but this area looked as frightening as ever. The Indominus, however, was freaking sick. Like, look at that color pattern. Then I saw an opening to grab the paste, so I took it. The Indominus wasn't even interested in me, I think. Back at the boat, I put up some preserving bins since we'll probably need them for kibble at some point. In most of the mods I've played so far, there is gonna be at least one kibble type that requires jerky. Finally, after one day, the ankylo had finally tamed up and I named him Tank. I wanted to test out the annunaki to make sure it was good for farming, and it kinda surprised me. Oh my god. Wait, what is it doing? It's crafting something. Oh, it's melting the metal. So basically, the Ankylo works as a forge too, so you can use it as a mobile forge. Day 13, I saw a couple of wolves that I kinda wanted to try capturing. They are not too difficult to tame and will be an excellent starter to kill some entry-level dinos. And one of them almost ended my life, but I ran back up and I tried knocking it out. For some reason, I couldn't get a single headshot bonus on it, so I did a tactical retreat for now. I had to make a new trank spear since the Kisa took my old one. I think it's gonna be better than the arrows for the job. I had to get the direwolf bullet again, and after doing a few strikes with the pike, I noticed how better it was than the crossbow. Way better. I got an archer killed nearby for some prime, and then I got the second wolf knocked out as well. Now, all there was to it was just to wait. They also had some babies following them around too, so they will be great to get also. I quickly went back to base to make 2 hunger potions that drains any dino food level so they can tame up faster. And for some reason, I had a monkey being literally Donkey Kong and going on a rampage, which worried me. Oh no! Why is the monkey so aggressive? Sadly, I couldn't get both of the babies since the other one just disappeared. It might just have been killed by the rampaging monkey, I think. Well, now when I had the wolves, I went on killing some mammoths for some pelt. I needed the pelt to craft up a gardener. The wolf was kinda weird since you could stand on it like it was a vehicle. Why am I standing on its head? What the?
Oh my god, we can walk on the wolf? We can go wolf surfing.
Then I made a gardener and a shovel at the boat since I was gonna go and fix the greenhouse for crops now. And now, it's all about waiting. The next day, I was deep underwater to kill some trilobites. We needed a bit of chitin since we ran out of cementing paste and we were gonna need it for a few things. Then I was trying to track a Cephactinus since it was just flopping on the beach, but then I got freaking robbed by Pegamastics and he brought his whole bandit gang with him. Anyways, we figured something out by reading Ark Descended's Discord for guidance. To make the excellent kibble, we will need to get our hands on an excellent essence, which can only be produced inside the inventory of an excellent dodo. And to get the excellent dodo, we need to kill the first tier of bosses, which we haven't done yet. We are not even capable of killing anything in the wild yet. So basically, we're gonna need some ordinary boss dinos, I think, to proceed. I made a descendant war generator, and then I went out and placed it and turned it on. But I couldn't understand how to work the machine. So I started looking at the engram list and I saw all of these summons. So I think you need to craft them and place them inside the war generator. At least that's what I think. At level 100 we saw some icons for some dodos, so I'm guessing that's the one we need, but I wasn't sure yet. But one thing is for sure, we're gonna need some boss rexes or something strong. It will provide us with levels once we start breeding them for babies. I made some gates at home, then I flew out to look for some rexes. Then I teleported over to the blue obelisk where we had our old base before, and there was literally just a rock laying there. I went over here since I've seen rexes here before and I saw one sprinting all over the place on the beach. So then I placed out my billboards to then trap it in, but I got jumped by a raptor and then killed by the rex. On day 15 I packed my things together. I am gonna need a griffin to tame to make things a bit easier for me so I could capture dinos. I saw a griffin inside the forest I could tame, so I got my traps placed out. Then all there was to it was to bait it into the trap, which almost got me killed inside with the pterodon. Oh, I survived. Not for long, I can hear raptor. And when I was about to kill the raptor, I got attacked by the Dimorphodon. I swear bro, like this always happens to me when I try capturing dinos. After my respawn, I managed to get back to the griffin, so I trapped in the Dimorphodon nearby and I knocked it out. Then I was just hammering the griffin with trank arrows until it was out. Now, I finally got the griffin and I named it Peter Griffin. I picked up the Dimorphodon too. So, taming that rex will probably be somewhat easier now since I had my super OP griffin. But apparently the rex's roar can dismount you, so it will basically make the griffin useless for taming it. What? I didn't know that roar would dismount me. So then I traced back into my old tactic of baiting him inside the trap. But all the rex did was walking around the billboards menacingly and slow as fuck. So basically annoying the frick out of me. He eventually lost interest in me and ran away. I was literally fuming at this point. I had to take a break from him and I went back to base to check out what the Kisa had done. She moved everything down to the greenhouse due to us having some issues by the boat. On day 16, I went over to the blue obelisk to check if the rex was still here, but no. However, there was an ordinary spino I could probably tame instead. So I went quickly back home to cook up some more trank arrows and then grab the dino gates. Akisa came over to help me this time around because the Rex gave me so much trouble last time. Apparently Akisa ran ahead of me and she died because of it. The Spino still gave us some trouble, but it was manageable. It just kept on walking to the side of the trap all of the time. But this time it ran into the trap, but I had a huge gap, so I placed out a billboard, but apparently he could walk over the billboards. Whoa! Did he walk over the trap? After a bit of struggle, he ran in and I could trap him in properly this time. Well, you guys know what's next, so let's just fast forward it a bit. It was finally snoozy, so I went back home to make the hunger potion and grab some prime. We finally had our first Spino, and now we need a male for it so we can start breeding them. I flew around for a bit, looking all over the place for one, but I couldn't see one. So me and Akisa was heading towards the river to look for them. We found one by the river, a prime male we needed. So I got my gates placed out again and I tried leading it in. The Spino had trouble walking into the trap again. I even used the poor helpless dodo as bait, but it still didn't help. Then I was switching up the design a bit to see how it would turn out. Okay, perfect. So on day 17, we got him in with Akisa being bait this time. I just had to get the last gate down and then we knocked him out. Then I fed him and tamed him. Now, we had a pair of them Spinos, so we could start breeding them for the boss fight and some levels. We didn't really have a good spot to breed the Spinos on since we were literally living on a pillow right now, but I found some small room for the Spinos. I had to start working on getting a nanny for the babies so we didn't have to manually imprint a batch of dinos, but for that I would need a lot of my own blood. So I made the health potions that heal me 5% in 10 seconds, so I would be able to drain my own blood for much longer. I basically spent the rest of the night just draining my own blood for the nanny. She is a freaking vampire, I swear. The next day, I was finally able to make the nanny after sacrificing myself several times just to craft it. Now I can get some of these babies out of these pokeballs and let them grow. We didn't have that much room to raise any Spinos, but this lower part here might be good for it, so I made a staircase leading down here. Like bro, who wants to grapple up and down from this small part here? Not me at least. I was then checking out the stats on our Spinos since I wanted to try it out. So I was gonna use the shittiest one we had, which was the mom. I took the Spino out to the area where we farmed some beaver dams. It looked somewhat safe right now. But when I was fighting these dinos, I noticed at the top of my screen that the Spino had an ability called Rage Mode, which made its attack hit harder. I easily destroyed an Alpha Raptor with this Spino and got myself a better crossbow. I was honestly pretty tired of this old one I had been using. I can tell you this far, I was starting to like this Spino a lot, especially with this rage buff. It made it crazy fun to use. I finally hit level 80 and I unlocked a lot of summoners we could summon in the war generator. So we have a lot of things coming our way. We have barely started, you could say. Well, the most important thing for us right now was to get squared away with a lot of things for the base. Anyways, a bit later, I went over to Akisa because she was gonna tame a shark for me and I wanted to be there for it. I wasn't quite sure what Akisa was doing with the shark, so I tranked it instead. It was actually easier torping it with the pike than the trank arrows, quite surprising. Akisa was unconscious for some unknown reason, but I helped her by dragging her to the 4th dimension or something. Like the water was non-existent here.
Oh, a little bit of oxygen. Please, more.
On day 19, the shark had finally tamed up, so then we could go out into the ocean exploring and bringing down some chaos on our way. We searched the vast ocean for some trilobites to harvest up. We needed their chitin badly to make some cementing paste so Akisa could continue on the base building. There were some glowing trilobites a little bit further away, but there was also packs of dangerous fish in this place, especially the Siphactinus. That piranha fish did quite a lot of damage, but also made me eat up all of the trilobites when I just wanted to harvest them with my tools. Like, I don't know what, but these trilobites were a bit weird since they were like starting to float up towards the surface. Alright, I think we're gonna head back home right now. I think we farmed enough chitin. Akisa didn't make it back safely either. When we were gonna go and retrieve my jet ski, it had apparently died to a shark. Alright, I had to continue racing some Spinos for the boss fight. I'm gonna have to get the batch ready for it since I have no idea how hard the first boss fight is. I got some flak made for us because I was getting real tired of the garbage tin can of an old armor we've been using all this time. We even brought the wardrobe mod with us and I tested out some sets, but I couldn't find anything that suited me though. For the first half of next day, I was basically just AFK in base waiting for more Spino eggs to be produced. And whenever we leave the base, the Spino stops breeding and we desperately need some more eggs right now. I took one of the Spinos from the first batch that I raised. I wanted to try out its damage now when we had some imprint boost. Oh, I'm doing way more damage than you, buddy! The Spino was so good, I was capable of fighting an excellent Spino. My gizmo was certainly powerful. But when I was slaughtering some turtles on the beach, I saw something interesting. What is that? Oh! Oh! I found a super important creature, I think. Descended biotoxin jug bug. So the biotoxin jug bug is very important for us to get, since we'll need a lot of biotoxin to make the higher tier of tranks. And with Gizmo, I felt so powerful that I actually wanted to try fighting an unreal Dilophosaurus. I was constantly missing some of my attacks too for some reason, but I couldn't understand how. Oh, come on! Oh! I almost got the Spino killed. But one thing is for certain, we are definitely not ready to face any unreal dinos. That was a Dilophosaurus and he almost wrecked my Gizmo. Oh mama, I was starting to get nervous there though. Anyways, with the Jugbug home, I would just have to collect the biotoxin from him whenever it has generated enough. The next day, I started throwing some females into the mix. I wanted to get a few more eggs so we could get some levels for our dinos and characters. Alright, it was now time to get the Spinos killed, so I threw some out in preparation while waiting for Akisa to get ready. After killing all of these Spinos, it rewarded me with 6 levels. We were getting close to reaching that level 100. We still had a few Spinos to get rid of since we've been breeding them constantly since we got them. And after I killed the next batch of Spinos, I got 5 more levels. So the next one after this will probably gonna be enough for us reaching that level 100 so we can do the first tier of bosses, I hope. So with us finally having a biotoxin jug bug, I can now make the improved trank arrows. I just had to make a chemistry bench since we were low on narcotics as well. Afterwards, I went over to the snow area to look for some Yudis to tame for the boss fight. I found one, but he got literally melted by a pack of wolves. That's some strong wolves. Wow, a wolf squad just murdered him. But there was another Yuti not too far away from this one, so I tried my best in trapping it in, but I failed miserably at that. And while the Yuti was trying to kill something, I took the chance by knocking him out. And now the Yuti was finally out, but before I went back home, I went to claim the rhino baby who lost her mama. On day 22, the Yuti was finally tamed up. I kinda screwed up and I forgot to reset my recording, so please man, don't put me on a spike for that. But now, it would be nice having a second one for it, a female preferably, so we can make the extraordinary kibble. I found a female not too far away, and this one went down without giving me any trouble. And usually when I tame things, I tend to get ambushed, killed, or unfortunate things usually happen. Despite that, with these two Yutis, it was time to start breeding these. The stats on them were decent enough and I wouldn't need to get overboard with breeding them. I would just want a pair of imprinted Yutis for the boss fight and some females for egg production. Well, I figured I could go out and try looking for Rex again since it has gone so well with the new improved trank arrows. So I teleported over to the blue obelisk to try my luck there, but then I just stood in front of one. Oh! Bad timing! I kept my distance and did the same thing as I did to the Yuti. I started blasting him with arrows while he was busy attacking things. But this is where it got a bit sketchy. I had a lot of things munching, nibbling and pushing him. It was a disaster. Everyone wanted a piece of him. And yeah, the taming effectiveness went down a lot because of it. 12. So that Rex was pretty bad, so I might have to find a new one. I could probably breed up the stats if I find a second one for it, but it will take time. I was gonna zoom towards the volcano to look for some Rexes, but then I spotted a pair of them, so I did the same thing again. One of the Rexes escaped and I had this one running rampant all over the place, so I focused only on this one for now. And for the other one, I couldn't find him. He eventually successfully ran away from me. I managed to find some Rexes in an area here that had me dismounted. I only saw females though, and I needed a male. But then I spotted a baby that was a male, so I took out my gizmo to get rid of the mom so I could kidnap the Rex baby. Now I successfully had a pair of Rexes. It has been a smooth day capturing dinos today. The next day we had a new batch of Spinos to slaughter for levels. It gave me just enough levels to hit level 100 to check the engrams for the boss summon. But when I looked at it, It was only for the little dodo, not the one we needed. Oh yeah, here it is. No, it's little dodo.
Don't we have to fight little Dodo? I thought that's what we did.
No, we're not summoning the little dodo. We can't. We don't have ancient token cluster. Wait, how the f do we summon the first boss then? Akisa assumed we have to defeat the tier 1 loot boss, so we're gonna honestly give it a try as soon as the UT pack here is ready. We will also have to level up the Spinos and saddle them all, so a bit of preparation was left. I noticed that we were running out of metal too, so it will be time for me to go grab some metal. Then I went over to the swamp to see if I could harvest up some rare flowers, since we needed a bit of it to make the hunger potions for taming. That thing was so nice to have, since we didn't have to sit around and wait for dinos to tame up them. But I quickly noticed that I didn't seem to get any rare flowers and barely any mushrooms. I was honestly thinking, maybe I just need a Therizino for this. On day 24, I wanted to see what the Kisa had spent all of our metal on, and it was all of these metal pillars under the base. Oh god. Anyways, I went out in search of a Therizino. I have seen a few of them by the blue obelisk, and I did indeed find one, but that was a vanilla one. Here's one. I got him easily knocked out, and I went back home just to grab some major berries and a hunger potion for him. Even with the major berries, it will still take a while for him to eat all of those, so I tested out the rhino in the meantime. Surprisingly, the rhino did really good damage despite having 0 points into him so far. Alright, now the Therizino had finally tamed up, so I put the saddle on him and I went on a killing spree to level him up. And back at the base, the baby Rex had finally matured, so it was time for it to produce some bloodlines. And while they were smashing, I went over to the swamp to harvest some rare flowers with the Therizino. But this is a problem I noticed. I wasn't getting any rare flowers at all. I got nothing from running rampant in the swamp for 5 minutes. So after a quick YouTube tutorial, it was said that they now can be found in the snow area. By the end of the night, I went over to the redwoods to place out a tree platform with sap taps. We're probably gonna need some veggie cakes eventually, so it's a good thing to get started on this. On day 25, it was finally time for our first boss, but before we could do that, I had to saddle and level up the Spinos a bit, which took quite a while. Then I made a summoner for the boss we were gonna do for now. I had already picked out a spot to do this fight, Akisa just had to throw out the Spinos. The Spinos weren't fully healed up, but we were just gonna do it either way, we didn't really have the time to wait. But finally, it's time for our very first boss fight. It had a very cool summoning circle in the air, and then the Dimorphodon just spawned in. But once we were fighting it, we were kinda contemplating if this was the real boss or not. The thing we were supposed to get was an excellent essence, so we could advance into the next tier of kibble. Okay, Akisa figured it out. Apparently the summoner was called Challenge the Excellent Essence. I spawned it in and I jumped on my UD. Then a dodo spawned in, and this was the very one we had to kill. Oh, what was that? Oh, what's this? Oh no! That was kinda overkill. That dodo didn't stand a chance against our whole group of Spinos. But as soon as we killed it, a tameable dodo appeared in the group of Spinos. This dodo was easy to knock out and just wanted some berries, but this was the very one we needed to continue on the tiers. Akisa wanted to do the fight again because she made a summoner, and it wouldn't be bad having 2 excellent dodos. And when I went to pick up the Spinos, I noticed a lot of them had some good loot on them that dropped from the boss fights. I wasn't sure which boss fights, but the bosses drops loot. The next day I went ahead and made the new excellent kibble along with 2 sets of the excellent flak armor. The new armor does provide us with some insane high durability and other traits. The armor has a breathing effect like my keyboard. That's pretty cool. Afterwards, I was gonna go quickly by the treehouse to grab some sap, and the place was really not that safe. I didn't like this place at all right now. But today was the time to get into the next tier of dinos, the excellent tier. And since we used Spinos for the last tier, I was thinking of looking for some Rexes this time. So I went by the blue obelisk to look for a Rex since they tend to spawn here. I actually spotted 2 of the Rexes, but both were male. So I just stayed hooked on the cliff shooting the Rex while it was doing some swirlies, but the Rex was easily knocked out and then tamed. Now I will need a mate for it so we can start breeding them for the next tier of bosses. Then I flew over to the volcano to look for more possible Rexes to tame. It should spawn some here because it's like a carnivore island. I then managed to find one around the corner that was a female. So I basically just dismounted, grappled and shot it while hovering in the air. This is the best way since the Rexes tend to dismount you with their roars. I encountered some dangerous moment with some Rexes, but for some reason it couldn't get me. I was sweating from the fact of being this close to its mouth. There was a male nearby too that I was gonna try fighting with my Spino. However, the Ascended Gizmo wasn't strong enough to take it down, so we both died. After returning to the volcano, I spotted the Rex again and I basically shot it from a distance while riding the Griffin. It wouldn't roar at me when its torpor was so high. But yeah, now we had a pair of them and they could start having some lone time because we need some strong boss Rexes to take down the next boss. And maybe this time around I shouldn't over-prepare Dinos like the Spinos, probably isn't needed. But yeah, I wanted to check if I could make the new Trank Sniper bullets, but I was confused if you needed a Descended Sniper or if a normal one worked. So I made a vanilla one just to see if it worked. Nah, it doesn't work. The next day, I figured I could try finding a male for the Descendant Griffin. I could just not see the one I needed. There were a few divine ones, but that's not the one I want. But then I spotted something else that was way more interesting. It was a Descendant Wyvern. I tried knocking it out with my crossbow and he did quite the damage to the Griffin with its fire. Then it was finally out. It was easier than I thought. But then, for some reason, he actually woke up. Like, what the frick? I knocked it out again and I gave him some food drain potion this time and some mutton. But he wasn't eating it and his torpor just dropped. I guess the Spyglass was right, you just have to passively tame it. So back at the base, I threw out some leftover babies so I could level up the Wyvern a bit. Its breath ability was already strong, but it can always be improved. Day 28, I had some bred Rexes to raise now. I had 2 males with merged stats, so I was gonna replace the old breeder with one of these and test out the other one. Then I made a new Descendant Forge. I was tired of the old one we've been using and we really needed some excellent essence to make this. Then I made an industrial cooking pot too. We will eventually need it for some of the stuff, I believe. I wasn't sure about specifics, but you can never go wrong with having one. But today it was time to actually go look for a beehive. We needed honey for some recipes later on. I had already prepared some bug spray and I picked up some raw mutton. The biggest problem about the beehive is that it's in the most dangerous places on the map right now, the redwoods. I was searching each tree super carefully and after a bit of searching, I found one. I just had to wait for it to get closer to the ground to passively feed it. There is no shot I can do it from my Griffin in the air.
Hello, bee. What good bee? It's very yellow.
Alright, easy peasy. Now we got the beehive, so honey is not gonna be any problem for us. I didn't have too much to do right now, but I wanted to give the tier 1 loot boss a few tries since I was just waiting for the Rexes to get ready. I was only able to make 3 of the summoners since we were out of rare mushrooms. Ugh. Afterwards, I teleported to the blue obelisk since I wanted to do the fight where we did the first boss, but I got murdered before I could even attempt escaping. I swear bro, that freaking thing was just waiting for me to do the teleport over here. Well, I made it here now and I summoned the little beasts. The Spinos could handle it just gallantly. Okay, nice. The loot I managed to get from one of them was actually super good. It managed to drop an Ascendant quality Descended sniper rifle for those trank bullets. So with my new sniper, I wanted to try it out and in case I was the perfect target for this.
Oh, that didn't even knock me out. That didn't even put me to sleep. Oh, okay, that did it.
It might be a good idea to spam that loot boss, so I might do a few more rounds. But then I found out we had no more rare mushrooms. Oh my god. So then I had to go back to the swamp to harvest up some more trees, but it wasn't getting that much to be honest. Akisa told me that there was a dino mind wipe, so I went back home to make it for the Therizino, so I could then farm up a lot more rare mushrooms. This was working out way better than before. I could just thrash my way through the swamp forest and collect as much as I could. There was a lot of noise in the background which had me a little bit worried, especially since I couldn't see too much when bringing down all of these trees. That was a very good farm. On day 30, the newly bred Rex was ready. I just had to kill a few babies to level it up a bit. Because today I had decided we should attempt the Unreal boss for unlocking the Unreal Kibble. I had some spare Spinos for this so they could fight the boss as well.
Oh god, I am taking a lot of damage.
Actually, it does a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's what I...
Come on, one more bite. Oh, one more bite. Is that... Oh my god. Oh, we unlock kibble. We unlock kibble.
Whee!
Woo! So that means we can go to Unreal then. Okay, well, with the boss dead, I can finally go home and make some more bullets because I am going outside to capture some Unreal Dinos. And don't forget the kibble too. We can finally proceed into the next tier of dinos. Now I just need a dino. I had decided to aim for an Unreal Megalodon because it can fly. Whoa! 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 Incredibly terrifying, but also very cool.
Well, you're still alive, so...
It's really flying! Oh, he knocked it out. That was actually terrifying. It also has a special attack, which will be great. What the f***? There it is, his special attack, some fireballs. This is gonna be so much fun to use. The next day, I was out looking for another shark so these could breed. But the trank rifle was just too good, it couldn't even get close to me before it ran away. And back at the base, Akisa finished off the breeding section so I could start breeding the sharks over there. I just had to move the structures over here again and get them all set up again. The sharks now produce excellent essence and excellent soul, so that means I will be able to get some excellent boss kibble eventually and tame myself a giga, dragon or whatever. Akisa wanted me to come check out this new bridge mod we've been using for this. I think it's really cool. And then afterwards, I went out to look for a Yudi to tame so we could get some improved duty roars. It's an Unreal Dino and would last a lot longer than the Descendant Yudi we had. I found a Yudi fighting an Unreal Direwolf, so I kinda knocked them both out instead. And by the end of the night, I made a few more tier 1 loot boss summoners. I wanted to try getting a trank rifle for Akisa. On day 32, I was out by the beach again, but I found a griffin we needed to breed with the one we already had, so I knocked it out. Then I summoned the bosses and they weren't too difficult to handle. The Unreal Wolf dealt a lot of damage to them. It didn't have a secondary key like the shark to shoot out fireballs. This was more passive and did random explosions instead. I got really lucky and got another Ascendant Sniper, so I could give it to Akisa. The Yeti did like an explosion whenever I do the Courage Roar. Man, this mod is really fun. Anyways, the bosses didn't give us any cool loot, but we got some veggie cakes at least. Those are gonna be needed for the kibble. But yeah, if I want to make the excellent boss kibble, I might need some more giant bee honey. So I flew around in the redwoods for a giant beehive, but they were so hard to spot. This place is incredibly big too, which makes it troublesome. After collecting a bit of honey from a few beehives, I came into one realization. How about if I just try capturing a giant bee and putting it inside a terminal for it to passively produce honey instead? It might be faster actually. Don't take me down there! I managed to find one not too far away instead. On day 33, I wanted to get some boss kibble made, but I was missing out on those boss essence. And to get those essences, I would have to kill the bosses that requires that certain boss kibble. I was then fighting a monkey boss on my wolf to try him out. The boss even did a wombo combo on me, but the wolf was handling it like a champ. Wow! I destroyed him. Okay, I got the boss essence though. What is that? Oh, that's a devilish! Oh, I almost killed the wolf! But it isn't over yet. Once you attack something, it will follow you for a very long time. Oh! The mantis is back! Oh! Run! Why is the mantis still after me? I don't know what to think about certain dinos having weird aggro range, but for some reason this alloy isn't attacking me. Oh! Oh! There were so many dragons flying all over the swamp, so I decided to jump on my wolf and fight one of these poison dragons. And yeah, yeah. Ah! I got killed by poison drake! No! I should have never fought the poison drake. He killed me off my wolf. God damn it! But yeah, now I really wanted to get some boss kibble made. I was thinking of taming my first boss now. And by the end of the day, I spotted a poison dragon I wanted, but it was being attacked by a few things. Something's attacking it! Now the taming rate is gonna be dog shit because of it. Waking in 1 minute. Yeah, I'll probably just let it wake up right now. While I was waiting for it to wake up, I was gonna go clear a beach a bit from the annoyances like these Dodorex here. Bah!
I think that went very well.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm so tired of dying this way.
Stop doing that, Mike.
Shut the f up. You try it.
It ain't my job. My job build things. I build things.
Let me die in peace. Pressing on the next day, I had to knock out the dragon again, but I had to be quick about taming it since the Spyglass said it would wake up in 1 minute. And I gave it a fitting name. Afterwards, I went over to the redwoods to test out the torpor damage. It was pretty decent. But yeah, I wanted to get a pair of them gigas or something eventually so we can breed and kill the babies for experience. But first, I would have to go and kill a lot of those for souls, otherwise no kibble. I went back home to grab one of the imprinted sharks since they were finally grown up. I gave it a fitting name to represent IKEA since it's Swedish like me. The blue eye worked out so much better than the wolf ever did. Maybe also for the fact that it was imprinted unlike the wolf. But anyways, I could only make 6 boss cable for now since we were out of artifacts. We are probably gonna have to farm that loot boss soon again for artifacts. I'm very excited to get myself a giga or something now since they could bite super fast. The next day, I figured I should go down to the underworld and check out the area since we haven't been down there. I wanted to see if it was safe enough to do all of our bosses down there in the future since the beach was outgrowing us. The underworld was pretty slick and didn't seem too dangerous until I saw some Indominus Rexes down here. And since I had a kibble, I figured I could try taming this one instead of a giga. I mean, the Indominus is really cool too. I love the design of them a lot. I got it tamed, but it would be nice having a mate for it, and there was another one down here, but we still didn't have the artifacts to make more kibble. Back at base, I showed the keys of the new tames, but I also checked out the big progress she has been making on the new base. It's an improvement, for sure. Then I made a few loot boss summoners and went over to the beach to fight them. I fought them all in a group since the loot boss was pretty easy by now. Now I was able to make some more boss kibble, and then I was back in the underworld and was trying to knock out the Indominus out. There were 2 of them, but only one of them had a better stat, but since they were so close to each other, I knocked both of them out. On day 36, I had already started the breeding process of the Indominus, so a bit later we were discussing what next set of bosses to defeat, but there was something called an Unreal Dino armor we could make. Maybe it's important to get that first because apparently it makes our dino immune to certain dino buffs each one has. I know the Unreal Dinos have their bleed damage buff and would be shielded against it then. After I crafted it up, I was checking my inventory, but it just disappeared for some reason. Where did the armor saddle go?
Have you checked the cosmetic tab?
Oh, it's a cosmetic? Oh my god! It's a cosmetic! Dude, that made me freak out for no reason. Alright, I got the saddle armor and went to fight the devilish Parasaur, and what do you know? It didn't take a single piece of debuff damage from it. That's actually pretty good. So the armor is extremely important, you could say, so you can kill these dinos. Well, at least try to survive them. There's a phoenix, I mean, I should try it. Oh! He almost got wrecked! Oh, I killed him! Anyways, my shark is basically capable of one-shotting these normal boss dragons now. It was freaking fantastic. Blue High is amazing. I was capable of killing some divine dinos too, like this RG, and it gave me some divine souls. But after killing a lot of those creatures, I was able to get the divine and devilish souls along with their respective hide. It's probably for making the saddles, I would assume. On day 38, me and Akiza were out by the redwoods to look for some ancient dinos to kill. The ancient Rex wasn't any problem at all to kill, and we killed it and we got some ancient essence bones and some ancient trophies. Alright, with these ancient trophies that's only obtainable from skeleton dinos, they were used to make the ancient token cluster so we could fight the next set of bosses. I had a war generator down by the base so I could pull the stuff we needed for the fights, but I wasn't gonna craft them here because we wouldn't want to summon the bosses in our base. So I gathered all of the things and we went over to the beach to fight the ancient creatures. Oh, it's summoning it! Okay, 300k. The raptor went down without any issues and gave us the trophies we needed. The stego was hard since they could dismount me and have me killed, but somehow I survived. It was all thanks to the armor. Alright, let's pause here for a second. When you kill the ancient boss summoners, they will provide with a few tech engrams per boss, so you will have to kill all of them to unlock everything at least. Basic tech grams and not Ark Descended though. we didn't realize it up to this point. The Giga we fought was probably the most dangerous of them all because of its bleed and heavy damage. And if you're wondering how we heal, it's because of our special attacks. The ability we use heals us. Finally, all of the bosses were defeated, then I went back to base to make some tech stuff. Apparently, the tech replicator seems to be powered by the modded power generator. That was actually stupid in my opinion. Then I was thinking to myself, why would I wanna do the bosses now? I could simply go and tame myself a devilish dino instead, so I made a kibble for that now. Day 39, I was up at the redwoods and I found a devilish rex. Devilish rex? Alright. Anyways, tranking out the rex proved to be somewhat harder than usual since it was a bit tougher against my bullets. But yeah, I got the rex tamed up now, so I just need to get myself a mate for it. I found one a bit further into the woods that I tranked, but when I knocked it out, it decided to sleep in the most worst spot possible. Alright, now I got a pair of them, so I could start breeding them for some imprinted babies like all of the other times. On day 40, I spent like almost the entire day making 100 of these auto-storage boxes. Well, my Indominus Prince was now fully matured, so it might be time to test him out.
Bruh.
I was testing out the attacks on my Devilish Rex as well. Like, the damage wasn't bad, but I think generally the shark was a little bit stronger than the Rex at the moment. Oh, here we go! Now I did a special attack. Okay! On day 41, I was still trying out the Rex, but even a Devilish Aloe was actually giving me a hard time. We're gonna do tier 3, right? So we need... Okay, we need an ancient token cluster. We need actually 3 of them, so let's make one first. We don't even know how difficult it's gonna be. But before we could do the tier 3 bosses, I noticed that we were out of artifacts again. Time for loot boss. I'll do 10 of them. Then at the beach, we summoned all of the loot bosses and fought them. It definitely made it way more interesting than I thought. Now, we had a good influx of artifacts, so we could probably make the next boss summoners. But anyways, Akisa had been making real good progress on the new base. It's really open too, which makes it just great. But now, it was finally time for the tier 3 bosses, and it spawned in a descendant devilish Rex. The Rex was capable of doing insane damage to us, but the Megs were strong as heck. And finally, after a few minutes of attacking from the air, we got the devilish essence and some tier 3 flak armor pieces, along with some devilish saddle blueprints. With the Rex killed, we got his essence, right? So now we will be able to make the pure devil armor for the Rex, which should provide it with more stats and armor, I think. On day 42, our moving process had begun. The permanent base Akisa has been building for us this whole time was finally done, and we could move in with all of our belongings. So it took us a really long time to move most of the stuff and sort everything out, because before everything was a mess, and this time we could make everything neat. But yeah, I spent the whole day just moving things around and putting up some normal descended dodos again, since we were short on silica pearls and those guys can provide it. The next day was not so different to day 42. There was so many things that needed to be moved, sorted out and such. But it was starting to shape up a lot. I got most of the producing dinos up again so they could passively produce stuff for us and we would never run out. On day 44, it was time to attempt our second boss of tier 3. It took a while to sort everything out in the base, but it was needed. There was just so much to go through and sort out. But enough of that, the other tier 3 boss was awaiting us. Well, due to us missing a lot of the souls, Akisa and I went to the volcano together to farm some souls. So basically, it's a bit shitty being 2 people, because when we kill any of these divine and devilish creatures, we don't only get 2 souls per person, it's 2 souls for both of us. Alright, it was now time for us to attempt the other boss. There is a third one, but that's mainly for artifacts.
God, that kind of scared me. Did you see the laser beam it came out with?
Yeah. Okay, so what's so annoying with this Divine Guardian is that he was capable of using an ability called Divine Power. And whenever that was active, he healed massively. We couldn't take a break from this. We had to keep on hammering him down, otherwise he would just heal back up again to max. Oh my god, finally it's dead. Now we got some artifacts, blueprints for divine dinos and some more armor pieces. Nice. Day 45, I noticed that my new armor was giving me some problems since my water gets vaporized into thin air. Very fast as well. We weren't quite sure what our next task was, but I at least made a pure devil armor now for the Rex, so he will get a bit stronger and give us some more defense for whatever comes next. After a bit of research, we found out that our next step would be to get an origin raptor that can be evolved into different kinds of stages. Basically a really strong creature that will allow us to progress further. We weren't really sure if this was a boss or a tame, but we didn't really risk it and went over to the beach. Yeah, here it is. Summon the origin. Okay, there we go. Oh, it summons tameable. So now we would have to work on getting these Evo cores made so we could upgrade the raptor. Then all I had to do was force feed it to start the transformation. There is one more stage to upgrade the Therizino, but we were completely out of those ancient tokens. Basically, we need to do all of these ancients again, all of them. But we didn't really have enough souls to begin with, so we went over to the red obelisk since it seems to spawn a lot of different types, which is perfect for soul harvesting. The best part about it all is that we both get soul siege. By day 46, I had enough of killing these dinos, so it was time to go back home and make some of these ancient boss summoners. Now I was able to pull the rest of the stuff for the fights, the only annoyance is the artifacts. Then we summoned the ancient bosses in. They weren't really hard with our new and improved Rexes, and the Rex's roar can be spammed a lot for even more output damage. Sometimes the trophies never landed in our Dino's inventory and were laying on the beach in bags. Let's see, next one is the Evo, right? Evo Theory. What? You need 4 token clusters for that one? Oh my god! Actually, we don't have enough black pearls for that one either. So, I made a few loot bosses so we could get some more black pearls and artifacts. We didn't really have a good way of obtaining black pearls at this moment, and this seems to be the only way to get a good amount of it. Alright, now I was able to make the Evo Therizino core to upgrade this one. So the transformation gave us the ancient Evo Spino. I read somewhere that the Spino was upgradable one more time, and while I was figuring out that part, I guess I saw on the Spyglass that the Spino was breedable. So that will really change up the game. But basically, for us to be able to upgrade the Spino to its final stage, we would need to fight the Phantom Giga, which is a tier 4 boss. But we didn't have the Abyssal or Celestial energy for that matter. We weren't quite sure how to get that yet. But this is our goal for now, working towards this Giga so we can continue on tier 4. On day 47, we were gonna attempt the Ascended Poison Drake, which is a special creature so I can upgrade my ordinary Poison Drake I tamed a while back. Well, I didn't survive the first attack and it killed me off my Rex, but Akisa managed to kill it and we got the Ascended Poison Drake soul. Next up was the Evo core and then use it on Kadraz. And for the upgrade, the dragon becomes bigger, stronger and better. It had some kind of implants embedded to the wings as well. I tested out the torpor on this broodmother and I can tell you it was pretty decent. When I got this broodmother knocked out, I got attacked by Divine Ceratosaurus. I saw this as a challenge, so I was gonna knock out this boy. I finally got the Ceratosaurus knocked out and then I went back home to grab some kibble for it. Akisa's brood mommy has also been tamed now. It was cool, but I wouldn't use it to be honest. Well, the Ceratosaurus wasn't nearly as good as I hoped. I couldn't survive against the wild devilish Rex. But the plan for now was to rampage through the redwoods and look for an Abyssal to kill. We wanted to see if the Abyssal energy would drop from a wild one. We didn't really spot an Abyssal car charts and decided to head over to the snow biome since the area is filled with celestial monkeys. So we used the Rexes against it, but it didn't seem to work as planned. Okay, we cannot do this! We retrieved the pure devil armor from our dead Rexes and decided to tame this divine griffin instead. Maybe we need a divine to fight the celestial, and that's why there's an opposite variant for that one. At the start of day 48, I put up some more preserving beans since the kibble required a lot of it. We weren't making it fast enough. Then I saw that the Kisa was also raising a bunch of more new Rexes for us since we lost ours. Then I went over to the snow zone to tame up the griffin. I just wanted to do some prep before heading there. We had a few Rexes matured in the breeding pen, but it was impossible to tell due to Kisa raising babies on the only bridge we had. Anyways, we were gonna do the last tier 3 boss, which was an artifact boss. We just wanted to test it out.
He's got a hat.
But the artifact boss really wasn't that difficult to kill. The next day, we decided doing the whole row of ancient bosses again. We thought about it and maybe it's time to test it out if we can breed those ancient Spinos that we got a few days ago. So time to kill this ancient for trophies again so we can make more ancient tokens. Alright, now we got the second Evoraptor going, but to upgrade it we would need 1 billion black pearls again. But yeah, I made about 20 summoners for black pearls. Those loot bosses are so easy to kill. I let the kids take care of the loot bosses while I just stood there looking pretty. Back at the base, I dumped a lot of the stuff we got and made even more boss summoners. Now, I could finally start making the Evo cores for the Raptor and evolve it. But I couldn't make more ancient token clusters since we were out of more ancient trophies again. On day 50, I went deep into the ocean because I was looking for an anglerfish. I read on Discord that there was one specific one I could tame that could farm up a lot of black pearls from bodies. So I was just swimming through and looking for it. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's an alpha mosasaurus. I saw something huge glowing towards me. I found the anglerfish I've been looking for and I tamed it. So I guess it's time to test out this boy. Well, the Discord was half right. You get a lot of pearls but only silica, which we didn't really need as much as black pearls right now. Akiza also made us the Descended sniper rifles from a blueprint and a super good devilish Rex saddle so we could handle fights easier. We had to go to the beach to face some of the ancients again. Bruh, I am so tired of these. But now, I can finally upgrade the Therizino to Spino. They were mating, so this actually works. And here comes the egg. I decided to make a propagator too, so we could literally leave the dinos on constant breeding without being present. Towards the end of the day, we actually wanted to fight the abyssal car shard we found by the redwoods. So the plan was to lure it away from the Giga closer to the river. Whoa, mama!
Let him get it out of his system before we go over there. Oh no, let go. Oh yeah, just keep going. Oh,
I got some stuff. I got it. I got devilish soul. I got abyssal energy. We gave the celestial a try again, and its damage was actually incredibly high and blinding for that matter. I'm blinded by the light.
Oh.
So Akiza and I escaped. We think the reason why we couldn't survive its attack is because we didn't have a divine to fight it. So we went to tame a Spino to test it out. Then we tamed another Spino as well so we can breed this just in case. On day 52, we had our ancients fully grown up now, so we're gonna try them out on those tier 3 bosses again, because we still needed some of the armor pieces. I quickly realized that the Spino had an incredible beam attack. Did you see that? I'll do the same. Did you see that? Wow! We melted him. We used to struggle on those bosses with Unreal Megalodons, but with these ancients, we literally melted those bosses down. I finally got the full set of this tier 3 flak armor, so now my problem with water depleting is over. But with these new Spinos, it was time to try them out against these Celestials, and it actually worked out. The ability from the Celestial Giga is incredibly strong and had to be avoided at all costs. We were walking through the Celestials easier now, but we still had to be somewhat careful with the fights. On day 53, we wanted to test out the Divine Spinos, and they didn't do nearly as well as the Ancients. We were still taking decent damage from the Giga, but our damage output was slightly worse. The forest had all sorts of dinos all over this place, even Ancient Rexes. But our fun kinda stopped once we got stuck in place by the Giga and lost our Ancients. Actually can't move. I'm dead. You lost it.
I was killed. Yeah, he like stood on top of me so I couldn't move.
I had another Spino ready while Akiza used one of the Divines since we were gonna try killing these Gigas. But Akiza triggered a Manticore that killed her very fast.
I'm dead.
Jesus.
Manticore 2-shot me.
Oh, it's actually killing me too. So a bit later, into day 54, we had a new set of ancient Spinos to use again, and we think we figured out what we were doing wrong. We needed a hydration buff to fight these Gigas to make the fights easier to handle. So we spent a while killing Celestials and Abyssals in the Redwoods, but now I think we had enough of this for now. It was time to check out if we could get that Phantom boss fight going soon. We need 2 ancient token clusters. But then we noticed we were out of more trophies again. I was a bit annoyed about this, and I was just gonna make enough stuff so we could fight each boss twice. So by the end of the night, it was time to kill the ancients again. At least it will be fast. And that is the last of the ancients. But now it was time to make the ancient token clusters and grab the stuff for the phantom boss fight. We were slightly worried about this fight only because it was a tier 4 creature.
Oh my. That's a lot of health.
What is that? I'm getting out of that. Alright, he was now finally dead and we got its ancient descended gigant soul. We also unlocked the engram for the next evolution, and Akisa found its loot bag on the ground with a saddle for the Giga. But, unfortunately, we were missing out on one small piece, and that was the Celestial Giga trophy. He had as much HP as the other Giga we just fought. We started fighting him in the water though, since it seemed to make it slightly easier for us. Akisa managed to get the loot from the boss, and he gave us the trophies we needed for the last evolution. I was only able to make one evolution token since we were out of ancient token clusters and some abyssal energy. But here we go, I am so excited for this Giga. His abilities were really sick, and he was capable of doing a breath attack and some sort of a sphere attack. I could even activate something called Phantom Mode. The Phantom Mode gave me more health regen and some dodge, but that mode was using quite a bit of stamina. And then we were out looking for some celestial monkeys to test out the Giga while my computer completely froze. What the hell happened there? But yeah, the Giga was insanely strong. I could annihilate those celestials and abyssals. So we went over to the swamp since I had sighted a lot of abyssal broodmothers over there, and the Giga would probably be able to put them all to extinction. The abyssal brood mummies were still able to produce a lot of damage with their flame, but not strong enough to kill my Giga. Now we were able to upgrade the Akisa Spino to a Giga as well, and we would be able to breed them together. However, Akisa couldn't craft her Giga saddle just yet because we needed more of those ancient tokens. And the last fight destroyed our teleporter to the beach, so I flew over there to place a new one down while my dragon was misbehaving. What's going on with my game? I reconnected and it fixed itself for me, but Kalstras was freaking gone, even though I could track him still. But when we were about to do the boss fight, I could see Kalstras again, but only from a weird angle. On day 57, Akisa was finally able to ride her Giga, and she got the Steam achievement from riding a Giga just like me. Our mate boosted pair of Gigas was just hard to beat. We did so much damage that the server was having a stroke sometimes. We went over to the redwoods and I made the mistake of pulling both an abyssal Karchar and a celestial Giga, and I saw my Giga's health dropping by a lot. These celestial Gigas were still nasty to fight. Today was the day to get her own abyssals. Akisa had already her excellent broodmother she could transform, but I wanted to get myself a manticore. So I went out into the redwoods to look for one to catch and tame. I knocked it out easily and tamed it. Then back at base, I pulled the stuff for the broodmother boss fight first, since we were gonna upgrade Akisa's broodmummy first. The descended abyssal broodmother was actually really easy to fight, and we got the soul we needed for the Evo core. Then I went by the base again to grab the stuff for my manticore, then we headed back out again. The manticore was actually super easy to kill with our mate boosted Gigas. But yeah, we couldn't make any more Evo cores just yet, since it cost an exorbitant of black pearls. After killing the loot bosses and getting a lot of black pearls, I was able to make both of the Evo cores. Akisa's broodmother's transformation was pretty cool. And I could say I was pretty happy with the manticore and its explosions. Now we're talking! I could even activate the abyssal power buff for even more damage on the manticore. There's one thing I want to add for you guys. I highly recommend for you to try out this mod if you got Asa. We are definitely getting there with modded Ark, and I'm all for it. For the future of Ark mods at least. On day 59, I wanted to try out something special. I was very curious if any of the Ark Descended creatures were blocked by the cloning chamber. And it was. So getting these creatures were a bit grindy, so personally I don't think they should be clonable, but at least breedable. But a bit later, Akisa wanted to fight the loot boss a few more times, since like usual we need black pearls. Akisa summoned in about 20 or more of them. Well, today was the plan to take on one of these element bosses, and the one we chose was the abyssal. I was gonna go on my manticore for this fight and shoot at it from the air, hoping it would just be a simple land creature. The boss did an outrageous attack and killed the Kisa in the process. Jesus Christ.
Oh no, my spooder legs!
I went on a Giga instead to fight it. I feel like this was working out just fine and I was gonna kill it, but the Giga was actually taking a lot more damage from the Byron than I realized. Apparently, Kisa couldn't get into the fight earlier because she spawned out in the middle of nowhere, and so did I. I don't know what Wildcard has done with their game updates, but apparently we now had duplicates of ourselves for some weird reason, out in the middle of nowhere as well. We made it back to the boss fight and the Byron was still here, but I was just here to quickly pick up my Giga saddle before it vanished. But the next day we were ready to fight him again. We both dropped our sphere ability on him, but the Wyvern was capable of dropping nukes and thunder on us. It was doing ungodly damage to our Gigas. The lightning attacks it did almost immobilized us from attacking him. And the boss basically bombed the Kisa and she died. And I was up next. I even tried going into the river to avoid his attacks, but I died from one of his lightning attacks. We still spawned out in the woods and this time it was bad. I basically woke up here now without the teleporter and I had to swim back home just to retrieve my inventory. I was a bit annoyed with the fight, so I demanded that we prepare for this fight a bit more seriously. The boss had about 30 million HP when I died and spawning out in the jungle had my monkey brain activating. So I had already started breeding the Gigas in the propagator again. We needed an army to take down this boss unless we're doing something wrong. I was also making a few of these new Ark Descended tech structures because apparently the bosses can't destroy them that easily and we need a proper outpost by that cove. Then I selected a place near the Wyvern boss where we fought him to build the box. Some element in this tech shield and we're all Gucci. The next day, Akisa had to fight the Abyssal Broodmother again since she lost hers during the Wyvern fight. We needed its soul so we can make the Evo Core. Like, I don't think the Abyssal Manticore was bad, but the Ancient Giga was definitely doing a hell of a lot more damage than the Manticore still. Akisa had made the Evo Cores and she was gonna transform 2 of them spooters so she could never run out of them again. She's just gonna breed them so we can have an unlimited amount of spiders. On day 62, me and Akisa took one of the newly bred Gigas to go farm some Abyssal Broodmothers. We needed more Abyssal Essence for upgrades and it's good to have as well. And while we were running through the swamps killing broodmothers, I saw a 150 poison Dodorex I could tame. I wanted to have one so I could transform it. We quickly knocked him out before he even had time to execute any dangerous poison attacks. There was one a bit further away, but once we knocked it out, Kisa got hit by its projectile and died due to heavy poisoning. And back at the base, I was starting to breed these Dodorexes because I wanted to merge their stats together. So whenever I'm gonna transform them, I'm gonna have a very powerful one. Alright, by day 63, it was time to level up these big boys. I had my macro ready for some serious leveling. Akisa had some broodmothers that needed level ups too, and because I had the fast macro for this, I did it instead. The dinos were ready and Akisa was sending in her first wave of dinos. I had 2 groups of gigas ready and this was only the first wave. The broodmothers didn't last for that long and I had trouble whistling the gigas to attack. The Byron started to heal as well, which made it very problematic for us. Yeah, we couldn't do it. All of the gigas died from that fight, including Akisa's spooters. But I still had my second wave of gigas on standby by the outpost. We are killing this boss no matter how long it takes. The next day, it was time. I had put them up in groups and were sending in the gigas in waves. I kept my distance and shot the boss from this far. But the boss actually started to die from this and then he suddenly died from the last wave of gigas. He died.
Oh wow.
We managed to unlock the Abyssal Warfare Key and Abyssal Shield from the fight, and the boss dropped some important Abyssal Element which will be needed to make the Abyssal Shield eventually. And back at the base, Akisa was raising a new army of brood mummies and I had some Dodorexes growing. I was close to merging the stats together. We had to do more Abyssal bosses since we needed the trophies to make the saddle. So then I started pulling the items needed for the fight. We were basically just missing out on Abyssal Karshar, Dodorex, Indominus and the Dragon. The next day was time to fight the rest of the tier 3 Abyssal bosses. The bosses were really cool with their attacks, but not that challenging at all. They all went down pretty easily and we didn't even have to worry about health. The loot we got was a lot of the trophies we needed, some artifacts and some gear pieces. We were basically capping out on the armor on each piece too. Then I made the evo cores for my Dodorexes and then transformed both of them. The stats that they came with were pretty good. Well, for my Abyssal Shield, we needed these Abyssal Keys in order to make it, but we only had enough stuff for one key, which means just one shield. We also had to kill off more ancient bosses since we were out of trophies again from making the tokens. Like bruh, I am so tired of these ancient bosses. We were still freaking out of trophies for some abyssal bosses. It was weird that we had items for everything else but not those two. So we had to fight them real quick again. The fire sound was so tormenting for my ears, so let me turn it up for you guys so you know what I mean. Alright, now we're finally able to make the Abyssal Shield, but we didn't have enough for two sadly, but that's not too hard to farm up. We were just missing out on Abyssal Energy. And aside from the armor, I don't think it gave off any cool stats, but probably a bit more resistant from Abyssal damage. So I went to test out the shield fighting an Abyssal Manticore, and I must be right. The Manticore landed a few hits on me, but the damage it did was barely noticeable. And by the end of the night, I went over to the swamp to kill off a few more Abyssals for energy, so we can make the Abyssal Shield for Akisa next. Day 67 started with me making the second Abyssal Armor for Akisa Spooder. I had planned on going out and taming a second Manticore today because I wanted to have some backups of the Abyssal variants. And in the meantime, I tried out my Abyssal Dodorex and his damage was insane. A bit further into the forest, I spotted a 150 Manticore, so then I just knocked it out. And then back at the base, I made the evo core for the Manticore. Then I transformed it, and the stats I had on the Manticore were pretty decent. Afterwards, I shoved them into the propagator so they could breed. Meanwhile, I was checking out what kind of bosses we were gonna do. We still had the remaining celestial bosses left to do, but like usual, we were out of ancient token clusters. Ugh. So then, I spent the whole day just killing ancients. On day 68 was time to kill off the rest of the tier 4 celestial bosses. The Dodorex I had was strong and did an amazing job. The only one who proved to be a challenge was the rock golem. Alright, now I have finally killed all of the celestial normal bosses, but we still had the celestial elemental guardian left to fight. Day 69 was the day of preparing the Dinos for the celestial elemental guardian fight. We remembered last time we did this one and we had a really rough time fighting it, so this time we were a bit more prepared and I had some spare manticores I could just use if I needed. Akisa had 2 waves of spooters ready to send in, but her second pile of spooter legs just had to die for nothing.
Great, so they didn't get to do anything or power up because they were sitting there doing nothing.
I'm gonna send in Dodorexes. That was overkill. Oh, we unlocked a new kibble. Spectral kibble, celestial shield. Oh! After a bit of research about the spectral kibble, apparently it's a very new creature and can only be spawned randomly from killing an abyssal indom boss. So we pulled some stuff for 5 indoms and then we went to spawn them in. And after killing 4 of them, I was starting to lose hope. But after the last one spawned in, something interesting happened. That's new. I think it's actually working. 43 million! Basically, to tame it, we would have to kill him several times to get the spectral element so we can make the kibble and then knock him out. His attacks were so blinding and we were a bit nervous from them. But after a bit of chasing him around and shooting our projectiles at him, he was finally defeated and gave us some spectral element. He didn't give us that much spectral element and we were contemplating if this was gonna be worth it. Because we have to risk our tokens just to have him spawn in randomly several times, and that's gonna be very expensive for us. And we were pretty much almost done with tier 4, so it was kind of a hard decision. Alright, we decided to ignore the indom and continue with tier 5 bosses. We were looking at this boss called Dying Light, but we couldn't make the summoner for it just yet because we needed to kill off a few more abyssal bosses for trophies. They were kinda easy, but now I was able to make the key, the last thing we needed for the Dying Light boss. Then it was time. I was ready on my manticore and Akisa had her broodmothers ready. Oh, it's a Dodorex! No! No, no, no! You can't fly! Huh. Like, I couldn't fly at all, so I tried teleporting away. The damage the Dodorex was capable of doing to it was freaking insane. Oh, look at the damage I'm doing to it! Oh my god! I'm running out of stamina though, Akisa.
It's okay, I'm shooting from up here. Oh, there go my broodmothers.
I'm losing the Dodorex! Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh my god. So when we killed the Dying Light boss, then a second one appeared, but we were confused about what was so special about that one. I used the feather I got from the boss kill, and I got a new buff for the Dodorex. So it actually tamed up after getting him low enough on HP. Nice. The abilities from Dying Light was freaking amazing. Back at the base, we were estimating how many trophies we would need to make 3 more keys to fight the rest of the bosses. The Galaxy Dragon for tier 5 specifically said that it was the hardest boss in tier 5, so we weren't accounting for that one just yet. Day 71 was a day of boss farming. We had a few abyssals to kill so we could get some abyssal keys made. Then after we killed all of those bosses, it was time for the abyssal element, and he is strongest like ever. The boss does so much damage, it's just crazy, man. So, since we both died, we brought in some waves of dinos for the entire fight. We weren't messing around at this point. I mean, he's almost dead. Yeah, let's be close. 10 million. Oh, he's dead. But yeah, now I was able to make some more keys. We were doing the Dying Light boss, so we could have a second one so Akisa could have one as well. The Dying Light does a lot of damage, but our Dodorexes were strong enough to defeat him. The tameable one got summoned in, and then we damaged him to tame him. That's honestly a really cool way to tame it. We even tested to see if the warchiefs were breedable, and they were not. Me and Akisa took our Dying Lights to do a clean sweep of the swamp. These warships were on a whole different level.
You could jump with it, Mike.
What? Oh my god. This is gonna crash my computer, I think. On day 73, we went over to the boss arena to kill off a few more ancients so we could get some ancient tokens made. We needed more keys because we were planning on doing the rest of the tier 5 bosses. On day 74, we killed another abyssal element, and that was so easy with the new warship, Dying Light. This wasn't even a challenge for him. And for the rest of the day, Akisa killed a few more ancient bosses so we could get some tokens. On day 75, it was time to fight the King Kong boss. With a massive 300 million health, we were slightly nervous for this. We got our ducks for this one, and he was capable of pushing us pretty far back. It's not doing too much damage, honestly.
Well, that's good.
But once we killed it, we got a challenger banana to use so we could tame it. It's exactly like the Dying Light, and then he just tamed up. Oh, there we go.
Let me touch monkey.
What are you doing, Gizo, with the monkey?
I'm not doing anything with the monkey. I don't know where the monkey going. What the monkey doing?
Okay, well, the monkey's abilities were quite interesting for sure. Oh! And then it was time to fight the next warship boss, the Charger. Its health wasn't as bad as the monkey's, and there shouldn't be any trouble to defeat it. And then suddenly, a tameable one spawned in. So usually we have to consume an item to tame these warships, but in this case we didn't get one, and we had to get one made. Now I was able to make the kitty teaser, and this saber had to be passively fed this teaser. The cat was really cool, but I was kinda biased about the Dodorex. Its ability was literally a flashbang to my eyes. Whoa, I don't see anything! I'm blinded by the light! But yeah, it was time for us to fight the Tyrant boss. I was gonna use my saber warship for this fight, and I felt confident with my new cat. The tyrant boss was freaking crazy and was literally enraged, and we both died and lost our warchiefs. We got back and we brought a few backup dinos with us, but it didn't seem like Akisa's broodmothers were doing any damage to it. Dodorex is going in. Oh god! Did you see the flurry of attacks it does to me?
Yeah.
I might be in trouble. I'm in trouble. I'm stuck here. Walk in the fire, man! Oh my god. Finally, he was defeated, and I unlocked some stuff for defeating him. So basically, we unlocked the Tyrant Spino saddle and the summon to get the tameable one. Akisa managed to find the death bag on the ground, which gave us an annihilation tyrant crown, which we would need to use for the summoners. On day 77, I was basically just raising a bunch of backup dinos since we keep running out of them every time. And afterwards, I went out to catch another divine Spino because we needed some divine hide, otherwise we couldn't make any more summoners. And weirdly enough, most of the summoners have that as a requirement. So for the majority of this day and day 78, I just flew around on my manticore, killing everything that was glowing. I needed all of the souls and hide I could get my hands on. We were planning on doing the very last warship of tier 5, the Galaxy Dragon. So before we could do the Galaxy Dragon, it was said in the document that we needed to craft the Galaxy Tribute first in order to tame him. So I made that, and then we ran out of keys again, and we had to kill a few ancient bosses again. Shaking my head. On day 80, it was finally time to summon in the Galaxy Dragon. Nidhogg spawned in with a massive 300 million health, and we were quite worried about him, especially since his wings were glowing. Akisa's broodmothers weren't even capable of damaging him at all, which kinda proved that abyssal level creatures are no match for these. I've lost quite a lot of health.
Yeah, I too had to run away for a little bit.
Oh, they were holding it in place. Attack, attack, attack.
I am. I'm right in front of him.
The boss was so strong that Akisa tried running away from him to heal up, but she never made it. Okay, Oh. I had to kite the boss around while waiting for my ability to get ready, and so I could use my heals too. But then he finally died and the tameable version spawned in. And to tame the Galaxy Dragon, we have to drop him down to 20% HP, and then I will be able to passively tame him with the item. Nice. The Galaxy Dragon's abilities were actually crazy cool, especially this lightning type. On day 81, Akisa and I flew around testing out the dragon's strength, and it was actually pretty crazy. The dragon was capable of leveling the entire continent with his god abilities. So for the rest of the day in 82, we spent all of our time killing ancients again, because making these tokens and keys was pretty expensive. Then we started fighting the Dying Light again. Akisa needed a replacement for it, and we actually needed the souls for the next Terra bosses. We summoned in a monkey too, because its soul was required. Plus, Akisa made some monkey noises because she wanted a new one. And then a bit later, I took the dragon out to test him out, and apparently he can swim under the water. But I must admit, he was way too strong to exist in this world. He was a different set of breed, way better than a manticore. On day 84, it was time for the ancient legendary Dodorex. It didn't seem to be that tough since it only had 38 million HP, but then I saw it was transforming and blew us up, and we both lost our warship dinos. I sent in a few ancient gigas to deal with him, but that Dodorex did so much damage that my Donald couldn't handle it. Whoa, I'm taking too much damage! And this time around, we got the Kisa Spooder army to distract him. I think it was possible to do it this way, but the boss was very tanky and had a very big damage reduction. Okay, I got something. What did I get? That's it? Oh, wait, he dropped an egg. And when it was ready to hatch, it came out as a dodo. What the hell do we do with this? After a bit of research, it was apparently a work in progress dino. The kids also noticed it had some sort of a progression thing above its head. but after we killed an excellent compy, he was able to gain 1% towards his progression. In Ark Descended, you can make these imprint potions, which basically gives each tame 100% imprint boost, but they don't work if your tame already has 100% free breeding. Today was the day to finally jump into tier 6 bosses. They are all bionic bosses and we were pretty much ready for it now. The boss was capable of putting up a defense shield during the fight, but it broke pretty fast. And once it was broken, it took more damage than normally. The Rex, however, didn't seem to be able to attack back on the Dodorexes. This was weird. But once we killed it, we unlocked the Bionic Factory along with the Bionic Rex Saddle. We managed to get its Bionic Essence too and Bionic Soul, which are used to making our own Bionic creature. That's a lot of Bionic there, jeez. Anyways, then I made some Descended ingots so we can make the Bionic Factory box. So basically, to make it, we have to put down the Bionic Essence of the specific Bionic we wanted in the inventory along with Descended ingots. And at every 10% progression, we would have to feed it Descended ingots or element. It all depends what it wants. Anyways, we went to fight the Bionic Jungle Lord next, and he did pretty big numbers, but he wasn't too hard to defeat. The next day, I just flew all over the place and killed everything for souls. Akisa had prepared to tame a second Galaxy Dragon today, and I was just out prepping for Bionics in the meantime. The Galaxy Dragon was as strong as ever, not an easy boss though. We got them killed, and Akisa got her Galaxy Dragon. Day 89 was time to fight the Bionic Ocean Lord. Oh, what? Ow. Actually, I'm stunned.
Me too.
Oh my god, he's doing so much damage. I'm not gonna survive this. He was so strong and I took extremely high damage from him, so I started kiting him around. He managed to get my Dying Light killed, so I went on my Galaxy Dragon to fight him instead. Akisa got stuck on something and got her Galaxy Dragon killed. So Akisa then joined the fight on her Dying Light. And she got killed as soon as she walked in front of his projectiles. What? After all of this struggling, I managed to get him into a certain position where he wouldn't move nor hit me with his abilities. Oh, is that finally? Jesus Christ. On day 90 it was time to prepare to make our first Bionic Rex. I was out farming a lot of souls so we could get some Descended ingots made. Akisa and I split up, so I could go farm one spot while Akisa took something else. I placed in the Rex Essence along with some Descended ingots and started the process. So at 10% I had to feed it the ingots, otherwise it wouldn't progress any further. If we didn't babysit it, it would just disappear and we would have to restart the entire process. While Akisa did all of the babysitting, I went to the swamp to kill everything I saw for souls. Making those ingots was expensive. Akisa told me to come back because the Rex was ready to be fed very soon again, and then it was ours. I made the Bionic Rex Saddle for it, and then I gave it an imprint potion and his health went up like 3 million extra. The Rex attack was capable of doing some sort of a big explosion, then some sort of a laser beam, but the best thing about the Rex was his freaking cannons. What? By the end of the day, we started with the Bionic Ocean Lord as well. Akisa wanted that one especially. A bit later into the next day, the Ocean Lord was finally done crafting, and his stats were incredible. 63 points into health, wow! I gave him an imprint potion and his health almost went up to 20 million. The Ocean Lord had some really interesting attacks for sure. I should have chosen the Ocean Lord, but the Rex wasn't bad either. Alright, it was then time for the last tier 6 boss, the Bionic Sky Lord. We used the Dodorexes as a distraction while we attacked from above. The boss was actually pretty easy in comparison to the Ocean Lord. I can't say that my FPS was good, it was just too much effects in one spot. My PC was about to burn down, I think. But finally we had killed our last tier 6 boss and we would be able to finally move off to tier 7, which is the Wardens. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but now when I used my dragon abilities, I had trouble keeping my eyes from going blind. Whoa, I can't see anything! But it was time to jump into tier 7 and we had the Warden Dodo next to us that we tried taking down. We weren't doing that much to it, so we went to damage another one. But when we killed it, a summoning circle appeared. It summoned in a Warden of Descension named Chaos with the form of a thorny dragon. We noticed we couldn't damage the Wardens unless we were really close to it. Yeah, we abandoned the fight since it kinda felt pointless, but then we discovered on their Discord that the Annihilation Tyrant was capable of defeating a Warden. So then I made a tamed summoner for him and a saddle. Okay. So with the Tyrant, the more rage I build up, the faster I attack. It's also capable of going into alpha mode, which makes me do insane damage. Oh my god, it hits for 5 million? So here we go. I had my alpha mode enabled and I was hitting him with a flurry of attacks for around 800k.
How are you doing?
Not good. I needed to shoot him, Mikisa. You're shooting the ground. With our very first Warden killed, we got the Thorny Dragon Chibi along with some Warden Essence and Trophy for killing the boss. The trophies are essential from these Wardens to summon in the very last boss of this mod, the God of Dream. We then tried fighting a Warden Rex and I died and I lost my Tyrant. We couldn't fathom how much that Rex did to me. So to make the Tyrant again, we fought the Abyssal Elements because we needed some more element to make a few more keys. Then we had to take down the Tyrant too, but it was rather easy now when Akisa had her Bionic Mosa with the rockets. We got the crown, so now I was able to get my second Tyrant. But before we were gonna fight another Warden, I wanted to tame a pair of Divine Thornies because we can transform a Divine or Devilish to the Wardens. On day 95, we were gonna make the core for evolving the Thorny to Warden, but we were missing a tiny bit of Descended Warden essence. Akisa found another Thorny Dragon Warden to kill, so we started hammering down on that boss, but the damage it did to me was too high for me to tank through. After my respawn, I flew over to the boss, but on my way there, Akisa got killed.
No, my fish!
So that means that the boss will start heal rapidly and I would have to keep on DPSing it, otherwise this would be a waste. I went to fight him on my Bionic Rex and it didn't do that much damage to him compared to the Tyrant. The only thing I had left was my Galaxy Dragon and luckily it was just enough to kill him and get the necessary essence we needed for the Evo Core. I got the Evo Core made for the Divine Lizard. Now it was freaking time to transform it into the Warden. Oh my god.
Wow, it looks so cool.
The Thorny had a different mode I could shift between and they were pretty nifty. Pressing on to day 96, we had to kill another Dying Light because we needed its soul to summon the Ocean Lord again for the Thorny Evo token. I have no FPS! My game disconnected me. We got the soul before the end of the day. Well, we still didn't have enough Descended Warden Essence for the token, so we were gonna fight another Warden, but this time it was the Therizino. I was gonna use my Dying Light to tank it, but we quickly noticed that the Dying Light was incapable of sustaining his dangerous attacks, and I got thrown off the fight in a swing. Akisa was gonna handle the fight on her own while I was just watching. It was time to officially witness if it was possible to survive from any of these wild Wardens. Alright, that kinda confirms it. We are gonna need more of those Wardens for these upcoming fights. Now I was able to make the Evo Core for another Thorny, so now I have my own. Day 98 and I had tracked down a Rex Warden. The Rex did insanely high damage and I had to avoid some sort of a circle ability he did. Basically some sort of a nuke. I don't know what Akisa was doing, but she apparently teleported to me when I was fighting the Rex. What an idiot. She thought I was in a safe spot so she could teleport close to the fight. She was a little bit too late to the party though. How did that feel?
Feels dead, man.
But anyways, I was able to get my trophy and Warden essence from killing the Rex. The last Warden we had to take down was the Spino Stardust. His attack seems to summon in a black hole that was scary, but we just kept on hammering him down. Oh, he's dead! By the end of the day, we tamed up another Scion of Dying Light because this big bad boy, we will need him for the last boss because that's a requirement apparently. On day 99, we transformed the Devilish Rex to a Warden. The Rex was a necessity for us so we could evolve the Dying Light later. It's basically an endgame creature. Day 100 and it was time to fight our very last boss, Dream the God of Ascension. With a whopping 10 billion HP, we started blasting it, and the Kisa got apparently one shot from its lightning beam somehow.
Oh, there I go.
Wow, it did so much damage to you! Alright, after being at this fight for almost 5 minutes, we found out that you apparently need the dying light to start the actual boss fight. So as soon as Akisa brought the dying light, the first round of the fight started. The boss spawns in a dying light minion I would have to kill, but it quickly ran over to Kisa and killed it, which basically stopped the fight. So if we wanted to attempt this boss fight, we would have to have a dying light within the proximity of the boss, and he needs to stay alive or it's gonna reset. We were able to walk close to the boss and summon the warchief, but Akisa fat-fingered and summoned the wrong boss. That's not the dying light. I quickly killed it while Akisa was summoning the other dying light. When we completed one wave, the boss lost a good portion of his health. And this time around, Akisa walked up to the ledge and was gonna shoot the minions from up there while I stayed down here. The second round has commenced and it spawned in 2 dying lights this time. I couldn't tell that we beat the second round, and then the third round just started. Honestly, this tactic worked out great, and we killed the boss on day 100. Oh, we killed the boss! Alright, since we had already completed this boss in 100 days, I felt like we could try ascending this dying light just to show it off for the video. Oh my god, look at the health, 21 million. His damage was just sick and of course eye-blinding. Oh my god. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and maybe comment what mod we should do in the future next. Bye!